It's gone. Home run, Clemente, and the Pirates 2, the Orioles nothing.
Here's LeMahieu. The center penalty coming up. Look at LeMahieu. Oh my goodness. What a goal. What a move. LeMahieu. Oh baby.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another live BPTV studio show of Pittsburgh Sportsline. Thanks for taking time out during the COVID outbreak. We appreciate that. We'll try to entertain you tonight. Smoke and Jim, we were warming them up early, and we did a little fact check. No facts. None whatsoever. And we talked 10 different subjects in 2 minutes. But that's beside the point. I'm Al Levine, the talking machine. Chip Hayner, the notorious Smokin' Jim Frazier, who's watching BET. And we got plenty of sports and things to talk about you. Some late-breaking news on the NFL. We're going to talk about that too. But first, I want to do our promotions. First up, look at Caitlin's on the ball here. Olive Oil's Pizzeria, Hillcrest Shopping Center, 412-831-1900. All their Italian food, pizzas, everything is great. When they have Italian ice in the summer, go there and get it. Great place to be. Next up, Joey Fabus Childhood Cancer Foundation. Excuse me. Poor Joey died when he was 9 years old before his 10th birthday. Dreaded brain cancer, DIPG. His family took the high road. It's the second child they lost. They've been raising money for 6 years now since Joey passed. They've raised over $100,000 to give to the doctors to find a cure. So anything you could donate there would be appreciated, especially during these hard times. Next up, another nonprofit. I was just there at 2600 South Park Road. Smokin' Jim asked where the lawyer is. I corrected him. It was State Representative Natalie Mihalik. She got a grant for the Bethel Park Historical Society, brought a big check, about this big.
Wow.
$170,000. So thanks to that. Glad I had her on the show before she did that.
Wow.
And gave me my great certificate. We won't show that, but I appreciate that. And she was there, said she had a good time on the show. And great day there. I'm even in one of the pictures they posted up holding a sign with the Bethel Park Historical Society. Check them out. They're going to do great events. They're not sure about Christmas, whether it's canceled or other things that they're trying to do up there because of all the restrictions. So they have to watch that. So we'll see what happens there. Just check them out. And they're a nonprofit, Bethel Park Historical Society. Great place. And my favorite tea shop, Reginald's Coffee. They were open the other day, and I didn't stop in. There was a bunch of people outside sitting in their chairs. Smokin' Jim will have to do that. Next up, Dave likes to have a little fun at my expense. There's my face on Uncle Sam. Tell them Uncle Al sent you. I want you for BPTV. Call 412-831-3304. You can be like Anthony, one of our volunteers. And we got Caitlin. I don't know if she's an intern or volunteer. Intern. So we have one intern, one volunteer. Anthony progressed from intern to volunteer, and we're happy to have him there. Look at how crisp the audio is, how the show is. We appreciate that. You could do the same thing. Give him a call. Next up, another nonprofit. Bethel Park Community Foundation has money for you. We've given out over $1 million in 25 years. We have $100 to $5,000 available for you. Go to bpcf.org, get an application. We just had a meeting last week, and we had a couple people submit their grants, and they're going to research them and get back to us. So check it out. We actually met in the schoolhouse that I talk about at 2600 South Park Road in one of the remodeled rooms. It looks great. So I got this event to talk about. Let's see, this is the Vets Breakfast to Go for veterans of the 40th District, October 30th, 9 a.m. I'm invited to bring my son, who's a vet. They're supposed to give him a little certificate. And we get a breakfast there, and it's at the Pavilion at Peterswood Park, which isn't that far from Bethel Park. So check that out. That is, again, Vets Breakfast to Go for veterans of the 40th District, and it's 750 Bebout Road. So if you've heard of Bebout, just head down there and you can find it. That's October 30th. So you can get your treat, all of you, before Halloween. All right, that's all I got, except for we have one more sponsor. Skeet, I won't test you with the card this week, all right? I'll just look at the camera. Skeet Service Station, 6103 Route 88, Red, White, and Blue Station, 724-348-4715. They work on anything and everything that runs on gas. You name it. Think of anything on gas. They do stock cars. In the past, Skeet's race cars, same with his dad, Butch. So they work on anything, everything, boats, cars, trucks, you name it, weed whackers, lawn mowers, anything. And they also expanded to doing electrical tools. So if you need something fixed electrically, go to Skeet Service Station. And that's what I have, and we're starting the show with What's on Your Mind? Smoking Jim Frazier.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. And if you want the green,
Coming at you.
you got to see Levine. Hey, I tell you what, I love inventions. What you doing with your mask? You don't have it on your ears. You invented it to go around your neck, man.
My daughter said to take care of your big ears. She goes, I'll pay $1 for this little connecting thing on the back of my neck. It's hard to see it, but I'll try to.
To cut off the circulation to your
No,
to your brain.
It's under that white hair. I don't know if we can get on there.
Oh,
There it is.
I tell you what, I'll throw her another buck to get me
Oh,
one. I
no,
like that,
man.
man. I like
Yeah.
that invention.
Tell her not to hold her breath waiting on that dollar.
But I tell you what, man.
Thank you, Smoking Jim. You're very observant for a guy that doesn't read. You read people very well.
Hey, I tell you what, Al Levine, the talking machine.
Yes.
I got to give credit where credit is due in Bethel Park.
Yeah.
I stopped off at the Kentucky Fried Chicken, got a bucket.
10.99.
pieces. Yeah, for $10.99, all dark meat.
Understand.
I didn't know white folks could cook chicken. Oh man, Al Levine, can you fry chicken? I see your Facebook.
Yeah.
I've never seen. I seen sockeye salmon. I seen broccoli. I've never seen fried chicken. How about you? You fry some
The
chicken?
best fried chicken is from Frisch's,
Yeah.
bar none.
It's
They
a
got
couple.
some-
It's a
black
couple
folks?
miles
Black
away.
folks?
White
No,
folks.
it isn't. No, no.
I never knew that.
Down in
Tony, if
Castile
you're
Village.
watching the show, the black card come out instantaneous tonight. Smoking Jim.
Here's
I prefer not to eat it because I want to share this with you.
okay.
Because you had a quadruple bypass, you should probably cut out the fried foods and red meat.
That's protein.
And, no, you didn't listen to what I said. Fried can cause problems. Definitely.
I eat the skin first. Is
That's
that
even
good?
worse. Yeah, all of it's bad for you. When I say do you have a bucket, I don't want to see one. And I don't cook fried food in general. I do fry up some of my vegetables in coconut oil, which it's not with all that greasy stuff that you're used to.
Now the coconut different than olive oil.
Yes, it's a cousin.
Okay.
It's out of a thing that's brown. You can relate to brown. It's a brown orb on a tree.
With coconut oil, you don't have to deal with Popeye.
Yeah, but it's out of a coconut.
Okay.
It's like the flesh of a coconut made into coconut oil.
That's what
And it's-
Samoans.
and it's
Samoans
very
bust them
healthy.
open with their head, the coconut.
Yes, Jimmy
Yeah.
Snuka did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did Troy Polamalu and the rest of them. Holy hey. Hey, here, and you just reminded me of something. Everybody loves Bill Nunn, and you probably would agree the Steelers, if they had Bill Nunn on the back of their helmet, would be okay. But listen,
Yes.
I've never seen a Samoan that couldn't play football. Where is the Samoan Bill Nunn? If somebody would hire an American Samoan to bring in Samoan players, they win a championship every year. Have you ever seen a Samoan that couldn't play? From Junior Seau to Troy Polamalu
How many
to
Samoans-
Tyson Alalu.
How many Samoans are on their island. And
But they're all they all love
how many
football.
are there? You don't even know.
100,000, I think.
You think?
I think something like that. Enough of them to play football.
I don't trust your numbers.
Have you seen the bad one?
We're not gonna fact check it, Jim.
Have you seen the bad Samoan? They're all good football players. Where's the Samoan Bill Nunn to scout
How
some
about
of
the throwing Samoan?
Oh, the Sunny Six Killer. Sunny Six Killer.
Those were the days.
But hey,
Smoking
listen,
Jim, you make a great point, but I didn't know that was on your mind.
well, this is the thing that's on my mind. I'll be real quick with this.
Finally. Okay.
Is everybody in the world knows that the air is so pure in Monroeville you can't get COVID. Come on. We've been wanting to play Pine Ridgeland for 10 years. All of a sudden, we got some students, not football players, some students walking around supposedly. I think they transferred in from the North Hills and Pine Ridgeland. They got COVID and they shut down the game. Now, all of a sudden, 3 Tennessee Titans, 2 of them on the practice squad.
Well, Smoking
Another
Jim,
guy nobody heard of.
I have to question because you don't read. You don't read. You don't read newspapers. You don't.
Nobody knows who they are because they haven't released
No,
their
I
names
know.
yet.
I found out. I found out. A practice
Well,
squad guy,
Smoking Jim,
the long snapper,
like when
and the
I
defensive lineman.
when I heard
I
that
finds out.
Smoking Jim, didn't I have a little conversation with you
journalist.
off the record when we were talking about the 80,000 tests they did
Yeah.
and nobody was sick?
Yeah,
What did I say? They lied.
they're lying now. Yeah, you're right. They're lying now.
No, if I said they lied about not having anybody test positive,
I guarantee you the game will be on Sunday
Yeah.
and it'll be fine. And everybody's saying now, and they're lying again. They're saying the Titans can't practice till Saturday. That's a lie. They can't go to their practice facilities until Saturday. They're practicing right now at a high school, at somewhere. They're practicing. They just can't practice at the facilities.
Smoking Jim, not everybody's a cheater like you. So they haven't even in their thought process because it shook them up because they thought the NFL, like you said, is so essential, nothing could happen to them.
It shook them up with 2 practice squad guys getting in.
Let me explain something to
That
you.
shook them up.
Let me explain something to you. Wouldn't you think the White House would be one of the safest places in the country?
Yeah,
Guess what's been there?
nothing.
COVID.
Nah. That's what's on my mind. You're making stuff up now. That's what's on my mind. I don't know anybody that got COVID.
You found out today. You found out today, and he was a boxer. He's living in Oklahoma now, and he got COVID. Smoking Jim, that was one of the wildest what's on your minds in Pittsburgh sports line 9 years of history. We're about 10, 11 days from our 9-year anniversary.
Can you do me a
anniversary.
favor? Tomorrow, instead of posting sockeye salmon,
Yeah.
can you post some fried chicken just so I know that you know how to do that?
Let me explain. I've posted up regular chicken that I've cooked,
Not fried.
and I won't post anything fried up like chicken where I'm putting in grease and greasy breadcrumbs. Not for you. And you should stop eating it now. And that's it for Smoking Jim Frazier. Chip Painter, sorry for the delay. He's all fired up because I'll just share this with everybody. He's been struggling walking for over a year. The last couple weeks have been very gruesome, or last few weeks. Last week he started to walk better, and he's almost, I'd say he's about 78% right now of how he was walking, because I observe people like he does. But I read books too. Chip,
He's almost got his swagger back.
well, at least he's watching BET. Chip Painter, finally, what's on your mind?
Well, thank you, Alan, and good evening, everybody. And what's on my mind, in the year of the Lord 2020,
Yeah.
we've dealt with the COVID-19. The one of the professional professional sports organizations that has been ridiculed and mocked for the way they do their business turns out to be the shining example of how to beat the COVID-19. And my hat's off to the NHL. Last night they crowned the very first 2020 world champion as the Tampa Bay Lightning beat the Dallas Stars 4-2 in the Stanley Cup Finals, and And Gary Bettman deserves kudos. Normally, I would say he deserves ridicule and scorn, but not so much because not one single NHL player tested positive.
Right.
They created 2 bubbles for the 24 teams that made the playoffs, and they were able to go through the entire Stanley Cup playoffs without one incident. They were able to have their championship and crown the champion. Congratulations to the Tampa Bay Lightning. They'd made it to the conference finals 4 of the last 6 years.
Yeah.
And then last year they got bounced out of the first round of the playoffs like another team that we know.
Yes. They have a choking disorder.
Well, they don't now. They've got the what do they say in Tampa today? The Lightning has struck twice.
An asterisk by the.
There's no asterisk. They played 24 games. I mean, that's the hardest championship to win, is the Stanley Cup championship, and they won it outright. There's no question about that.
Well, I think they won 19 because
They went 19 of 24.
right.
So they
Played 24, but they were 19.
you know,
you
so-
got to win 19 games. We've explained to Smoke and Jim at 16.
So tomorrow night, the NBA, which also decided
Bubble.
to play in a bubble, play their championship series with the Los Angeles Lakers once again in the championship for the first time since, I believe, 2010.
Yeah.
And LeBron James has now made it to his 10th NBA Finals. That is incredible. And, you know, he's only 3-6
I was
in the
waiting
finals
for Smoke and
so
Jim
far.
to bring that up.
Well, I was.
You beat
I,
him to it.
I was going to beat him to it because, you know, Michael
you.
Jordan made it to 6 finals
'Cause he
and was
looks for the
6-0.
negative. He looks
So,
for
you
the
know, I
negative.
mean, when you want to talk about the greatest, it starts there and it ends there. But anyhow, the NBA will be crowning the champion sometime soon.
Yes.
And, you know, the Major League playoffs started today. And in lieu of doing my trivia this week, I'm going to give you a breakdown of Major League Baseball's playoff format
Wow.
and the teams that made it in, and we'll discuss that a little later. But congratulations to Tampa Bay. Congratulations to the NHL and the NBA for getting it right, because they didn't have to miss any games over any COVID-related instances.
Right.
The Steelers game on Sunday, it's up in the air. They're practicing now like the game is going to be played, but
The other team isn't.
well, here's what you have to wait and see. See what tomorrow brings, because nobody expected this until 10 o'clock this morning.
Well, again, NBA and hockey got to put an asterisk by it, because if you don't win the championship in June, you got to put an asterisk by it. But
No, you're wrong.
let me ask you this: in 1969, the Steelers drafted Mean Joe Green, first pick. 1970, Terry Bradshaw with the first pick overall. Has the Pirates ever before this year had the first pick?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did. They drafted Garrett Cole.
Garrett Cole, okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You heard
He's
that
with the
name before.
Yankees now.
But
Yeah.
I'm saying, even though the Pirates didn't do well, that they can use that first pick to either pick a player or trade that first pick for a player. So it's a win-win for
No,
the Pirates.
they'll take the pick.
They'll take the pick?
Yes.
Okay.
Sure.
You know who they're going to pick?
I forget what the young man's name is. He's a starting pitcher out
I
of
saw him.
Vanderbilt. You remember the last number 1 pick they took out of Vanderbilt? Pedro Alvarez.
Yeah.
I liked him.
They should have.
I liked him too. I wish he would have been able to play baseball. I
He could hit.
You
He
know,
could hit.
he could hit occasionally.
Yeah.
He couldn't throw from third base to first base.
He lost his confidence.
He didn't have it to begin with, but
Who was that
Yeah, that
pitcher
is-
that couldn't, after a while, lost his confidence?
Steve Blass.
Steve Blass. He had that Steve Blass.
But he had a 60-year career with the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Who's that?
Steve Blass.
Did he?
Who's that?
He's been hit so many times, folks. CTE. I'm not making fun of it. This is reality.
But that's what's on my mind, Alan. Congratulations to the
Thank you, Chip
organizations that made it work.
Yes.
Asterisks.
And I'm glad Smoke and Jim. Can you write an asterisk and show me what it is?
Is that like almost like the asterisk around Barry Bonds' record?
It's almost like the Penn Hills football players write their X, but it's one more line.
Is that like the asterisk that goes next to Barry Bonds' home run record?
This is like off-camera stuff they're sharing with you now.
I just was, just wondering if you could talk asterisks.
That's pretty good. You missed one line going down there. Smoking Jim's in rare form, and he can walk again, so it's a good night. What's on my mind is the Steelers again. I've been waiting for the Steelers. I was so worried about Big Ben being like Terry Bradshaw with the surgery, but doctors and medicine has gotten better. Look, Smoking Jim's still alive with us because of medical breakthroughs, even though he eats a bucket of chicken a week, maybe 2. And it's just great to see Terry Bradshaw throwing nice passes to guys, and they're catching the ball. And it was a great Steeler win. We'll talk about it on the back end. But I'm enjoying the football season, and I'm so happy I don't have to pay per view to watch the NFL. Like my esteemed colleague made an outlandish claim that was so far out of reality, it's still not true. But it was great to watch football for free. I watched football all day, even saw Mahomes last night. I don't want to even discuss that. He's worth the $45 million, I'll say, in this day and age. But that's another story. We'll be back. Yes.
One question. Could you guys help me out? What's the combined records of the first 3 teams that the Steelers played this year? Somebody said it was 0 and 9.
0 and 9.
0 and 9. Okay, thanks. I didn't know. I wasn't sure.
Okay.
All right,
What's your point?
No, I wasn't sure.
What is your
I
point?
wasn't sure. 0 and 9.
What is your
Good
point?
start.
We'll do a disclaimer. As you know, I'm a positive guy. Chip's a realistic guy. And Smoking Jim is totally delusional, leading towards the negative aspect of almost anything in sports except what he's talking
Me and
about.
Special K love football. We just didn't know what the records was of the teams the Steelers beaten. They haven't won a game yet.
Smoking Jim, you're bringing up some history with negotiating contracts and dealing with lawyers. I found out at under the age of 20 that a lawyer asks a question that he knows the answer to. Because I would stump him on some questions and they change the subject. So Smoking Jim is not trained to be a lawyer, and he acts like a lawyer asking his points. Like he knew what the record of those 3 teams, or he would not even brought it up. I'm going to ask his mama. That's what I'm going to ask, because I'll find out how many times she had to correct him. All right, we'll be back with, believe it or not, some fiction and fact with Smoking Jim's Almanac. Stay tuned.
Steelers show blitz. He throws the pass up. It's going to be picked up. James Harrison has it. He's running up the sideline. 25.
What do you do for the public access TV station, BPTV?
Well, whenever Dave needs a volunteer, I originally got onto this. I came down to ask Dave to put a sign for the Rotary Club Pancake Festival in, and so I needed some volunteers and said, hey, I got some time. And my wife, we travel, and in the summer times we're not around, but it's something to do, and it keeps me busy. And I've met a lot of interesting people, and I encourage anybody that has some time or looking for something to do to come down and volunteer. I mean, learn how to run a camera, help out in the studio, whatever Dave needs, and I find it enjoyable. And it isn't something that you're volunteering where they expect you to come every Thursday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This is one of those arrangements where anybody that has some time, Dave will send you an email showing what he's going to schedule the next week, and if you have some time, you call up and say, I'll be there. And it's worked for me, and it's been fun. I've enjoyed it, and once I retired, then I volunteered here and been helping out here ever since.
From a very young age, I was exposed to sports in a great way. My uncle was on the first pro basketball team in Pittsburgh, the Pittsburgh Ironmen. And my dad, of course, that was my hero. He was a basketball referee for over 30 years. Just been a passion in my life. And as I got older, I found out about horses, and I ended up owning a stable. And I was asked to be on a sports show with Roger Houston called the Meadows Racing Network. And when we were done, I said, boy, that'd be something great. Maybe someday I could have a TV show. Back in 2011, I had a conversation with some friends about sports that piqued my interest in how could we start a sports talk show on TV. Well, I found out I could go to public access TV in Bethel Park, and I'd be able to produce my own sports talk TV show. The great thing about doing 2 sports talk shows on BPTV is I can share my passion about sports
with thousands of people every week. If you are passionate about something that you would like to share with the community, I encourage you to come to BPTV and produce a show like I do. I'm Al Levine, volunteer producer of Pittsburgh Sportsline on BPTV.
Steelers show blitz. He throws the pass up. It's going to be picked up. James Harrison has it. He's running up the sideline. 25-30.
No,
it should be
right.
Thanks, Al Levine, the talking machine. Thanks, Chip Hayner. We got Special K in the house. And we got my main man, Anthony, whose hair is never out of place. Great head of hair. On the ones and twos, making us look good. Al Levine, the talking machine. I tell you what. We do the fiction and facts from Smoking Jim's Almanac.
Yeah.
And no, people don't. It would be a great book. Special K, if it's all true, which it is all true, it would make a great book.
And
if
your
somebody
point-
knew I
and
was
your
at
point-
the 3,000 hit for Roberto Clemente and the Immaculate
There's
Reception.
only one person that knows you were there. You.
And also, nobody believes in 1980, I seen Dwight Collins win the 200 meters and ran backwards the last 20 yards, broke the tape, and broke the state record. But nobody believes that. But I got another one that is so true, nobody ever believes.
Lay it on us.
I had season tickets to the Steelers ever since I was 4 years old. When did you first get season tickets to the Pirates, Chip?
2010.
Oh, you was a Johnny come lately. But I was I had you beat. I was 4 years old, Chipper. My two favorite.
Hold on, I got one question. How old are you now?
But I tell you what.
Because was that 4 years
Because
ago?
in 1964.
This was back in the Pitt Stadium days, right?
Wow. he is-
1964.
Yeah.
This is back in the Pitt Stadium days. I got to see that year my two favorite players in the NFL. Not the Minnesota Vikings quarterback, but Fran Tarkenton of the New York Giants.
Yeah.
We used to get to the stadium so early, we got there before they could let you in. We got there before the teams got in. You'd have loved hanging with my dad.
So who did Fred Tarkenton take over for as the Giants quarterback?
I'm not sure.
Y.A. Tittle?
Did he do Y.A. Tittle? I wasn't sure about that. But that was good. But check
That's
this out.
excellent.
But my dad seen when Bob Baker and them destroyed Y.A. Tittle when
That
he
blood.
was on his knees in blood.
Yeah,
that
at
was a
Pitt
little
Stadium.
bit before my season ticket
Probably
days.
a year.
But we used to get there. You'll love this. We never left the game early. We was the first people
That's
to
rare.
get there and the last to leave, right? And then we used to get there so early before the players. We'd be sitting in the stands. The players would come out without their helmet on, no shoulder pads, just their jersey
Yeah.
and their pants. And Fran Tarkenton comes out with Frederick Tucker. Remember the tight end for
No, I don't
for the
remember.
Giants? Tucker.
No, you're Tucker Frederickson.
Tucker
Ah,
Frederickson.
that's why I didn't
it.
remember.
That's it. Two last names. So they're sitting on the bench. I'm looking at Fran Tarkenton. But before that,
Yeah.
I got to see my favorite player in the world, the greatest football player, in my opinion, all time, Gale Sears. Opening kickoff, Gale Sears catches the ball. If you remember back then, Pitt had the bench seats.
Yeah.
They didn't have the regular seats. Gale Sears gets the ball about 4 yards deep in the end zone. He gets to about the 20, and I didn't see nothing because everybody stood up. That's before I learned to stand on the bench, or climb on the back of
On a seat.
climb on the back of somebody's back.
Okay, now, was this on the same day that you saw Fran Tarkenton?
No, it was a different day.
Because I was going to say that's two different football
this was
teams.
the opening game of the season.
That's why I'm wondering.
This was
1965.
The opening game. This was the opening game of the season. Gale Sears gone. But I never seen it. The next day in the paper, my dad, we should have kept it. We should have kept that newspaper. Just
Well,
like I should have kept the ticket for the Immaculate Reception.
You got in for free, so you didn't have it.
But my dad had the newspaper. Well, you remember how big the Pittsburgh Press was, sports at that time.
Yeah.
You had to need two people to bring in that paper. In the
I
house.
worked
It was
on
so
them in
wild.
'75. It was still big.
How did you? It was so wide.
Yeah.
But they had Gale Sears.
We had to stack
touchdown.
those bundles, buddy. That's why I'm strong.
I had to deliver them.
Yeah,
I
he's
didn't,
strong.
I didn't do no paper route.
I know.
I had three.
I didn't do no paper
You'd have
route.
never collected money.
Well, Well, I used to go up to the grocery store. I used to skip school, go to the grocery store, help ladies carry their bags to their car. They used to give me money for that. I used to make a lot of money
So
for
you
that.
were like a jitney guy.
I skipped school. Yeah, I skipped school.
You were like
Rode my
jitney
bike
without
up
a
there.
car.
Yeah, I rode my bike up there, 2nd, 3rd, 4th grade. So, anyhow, Al Levine, they had Gale Sears. They showed his whole 100-yard touchdown
Yeah.
run kickoff with all the Steelers laid out. Yeah, man, it was so awesome. But rest in peace, the Kansas Common. Who's the other great running back from Wichita, Kansas? Barry
Sanders.
Two
A
great
good friend of
guys.
mine went to school with him.
Huh?
A good friend of mine's an operational manager at Pitt, and he went to school with Barry Sanders.
But the greatest Kansas team of all time was Bobby Douglas at quarterback, Riggins at running back,
Whoa.
and tight end, Larry Brown.
Wow.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, Larry Brown. That was a great Kansas team. That came after.
Thanks
Gale
for giving
Sears.
us like 3 fiction and facts.
Yeah.
And they're all
So
true.
that's it. That's
They're all
it.
true, except who were you with? Your dad. So.
My dad and his best friend.
Okay.
And then.
What was his name?
But
Did he
all
have
the
a name?
all the steel workers used to pass the flash around. Everybody used to hit that flash, and I'd pass it along. Everybody takes a swig. Nowadays, you don't do that. Everybody take it off the same swig.
No. Nowadays, you pass that thing around like that, you get arrested.
You get arrested, but would you swig
Especially
after somebody else 40?
I ain't saying
Would you be the
nothing.
40th swig?
I ain't saying nothing.
Smoking Jim, I'll give you a little fiction and fact from my Pittsburgh Press and Post-Gazette days.
You guys did a swig on the job?
No, I'll give you this even better. Guys would go, do you want to go to the Pitt game? Because we worked in the early morning shift.
Uh-huh.
And they go, yeah, we're going up to the game. They had 8, 10 cases of beer, 20 guys. They went up there and drank the whole game.
Really?
How did they get cases of beer in there?
Wow, that's amazing.
And these were some big guys.
Well, you can do that with Iron City.
Oh,
You can do
wait,
that with Iron
get some
City.
breaking news here.
All right, let's get it.
More COVID-19 cases in Gateway School District. So they figured out a way to avoid another loss.
And the season
Are
now.
you serious? You just making that up?
No, that just came across Channel 4.
Fake
WTIA.
news. Fake news. I think I'm gonna be hearing that a lot tonight. Fake news. Fake news.
Why? What's on the night?
I can't wait. I'm taping it.
You don't even vote.
Huh?
You don't even vote.
And I've never paid $750 in taxes either. I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to learn, machine. I can learn.
There, Smoking Jim, let me make it very simple for you. Here's how you can save. First, you got to show income. But if a miracle happens and you show income, you have 2 daughters that I know of and a son, okay? Here's what you do. You hire all 3 of them to be a football consultant of your company,
Okay.
and whatever you pay them, which won't be much, you can write all of that off as a business expense. That's one IRS 101.
I couldn't trust their mama. You think I can trust them?
What did I tell you, folks? I give him something legit, and he turns it all around. We better go to a break. Don't change that dial.
So anyhow, getting
Thanks,
to my
Anthony.
trivia. In lieu of trivia this week, I want to break down the Major League Baseball playoff bracket. The playoffs have started today.
Yeah. I was watching it.
There were, and actually the marquee game is being played right now. Garrett Cole's pitching for the Yankees against Shane Bieber of the Cleveland Indians. And Shane Bieber is probably going to be the Cy Young Award winner in the American League this year.
He looks like
so,
it, yeah.
that will be quite interesting. So to break down what happened, we've got actually 16 of the 30 Major League Baseball teams made it into the playoffs this year.
Yeah.
Okay, and that means that of the 16 teams, 2 teams with losing records made the playoffs this year: San Diego Padres and the Houston Astros, the lousy cheaters from the West Coast.
Wow.
So, just to give you a quick breakdown of what's going on with the postseason, first 4 games of postseason, they have a wild card series. And this is one of the changes that I think would be probably is going to be instituted moving forward for Major League Baseball when things go back to normal next year. But I do believe that the wild card round should be a 3-game series. So all 8 games being played this week, starting today, are 3-game series. So there's 4 games being played today. Tomorrow there'll be 8 Major League ball games played. All 4 American League teams and all 4 National League teams will be playing tomorrow. Today the American League teams played. So just to give you a breakdown of how this is all going to work out. We'll hold the final 3 rounds of the 16-team postseason, the Division League Championship Series, and World Series at neutral site locations. So the wild card round is being played in the home stadium of the team with the better record. Okay. The 16.
You better explain it to him.
Yeah, I'm going to try to.
Please.
I'll use little words.
Because he's lost.
The 16-team playoff bracket was set as of the 60-game season wrapped up on Sunday. The league will start the playoffs with the wild card series on Tuesday. The 8 best-of-3 matches in that round will be played at the higher seeds home ballpark. So we've got Tampa playing Toronto, the Indians playing the Yankees, the Twins playing the Astros, and the A's playing the White Sox. And on the National League side, the senior circuit, the Dodgers and the Brewers, the San Diego Padres and the St. Louis Cardinals.
Chip, you only misspoke once. It's not Toronto, it's Buffalo.
No.
Really?
Well,
That's where
Smoking
they're
Jim
playing.
didn't know. Yeah.
Chicago Cubs and the Miami Marlins.
Wow.
Miami lost 105 games last year, made the playoffs this year. And the Atlanta Braves and the Cincinnati Reds. The bubble locations for the expanded playoffs for the National League Division Series, Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas, and Minute Maid Park in Houston for the American and the National. That's for the National League. American League, ALDS, Petco Park in San Diego, and Dodger Stadium in Los Angeles. The NLCS is at Globe Life Field. The ALCS is at Petco Park in San Diego, and the World Series will be played at Globe Life Field, which is in Arlington, Texas. A bubble approach will help the Major League Baseball will help minimize the risk of another coronavirus outbreak. There was an outbreak at the beginning of the season that did put the season in jeopardy.
Yeah.
With the St. Louis Cardinals and as well as the Miami Marlins. And look at the Miami Marlins. They had a shutdown for 2 weeks. They played their 60 games. They played their way into the playoffs.
Yeah. Hey,
So,
Chip, on a Corona note, the game today, I was watching the game, and they showed some fans there, and they go, they're employees of the team. Then they showed a lady with 2 kids wearing a mask, rooting for the team.
I can
and they
tell you.
said that some of the families are in the bubble.
I will
so
tell you how that
the employees
works.
are in the bubble, and so are the fans. But did you see that, what I saw?
Yes, you did, and I will explain to you
That's
how
why
that
I wanted
happened.
to bring it up to you, because I know you're the answer man.
Okay. Postseason format. What they've done is the week before the playoffs started, the teams that were going to potentially, their families had
Okay,
to
I missed that.
quarantine.
Yeah.
Okay, and now the families are in the bubble with the players, so the players can have their families with them, but they quarantined before being admitted into that. So
Right.
the people that are there at the game are family members of the players of the
And
team.
they've all been tested.
And they've all been tested. They've been quarantined, and now they're able to be with their loved ones while they
In
play
the bubble,
through the
yeah.
play through the playoffs. Because one of the problems some of the players were having, a number of ball players had newborn children, and they weren't able to see their wives or their child.
Trout, look at Trout.
So
Okay.
Smoking Jim, you're not in charge because you're a dictator.
So what
Chip's
we've
still
got
got the
is
floor.
the wild card series is a 3-game series.
Right.
Then they moved to the National League Division Series and American
7
League
games.
Division Series, which is a 5-game, best of 5.
Okay.
It's a best of 5. Then they get to the American League Championship Series, National League Championship Series, best
all
of
set.
7s. You get to the World Series, it's best of 7.
Yeah.
Okay. When they get to the World Series, they're in a bubble in Arlington For the ALCS and NLCS, they'll be in a bubble in different locations.
Sure.
And what will not happen is no home team will be playing on their home turf,
Sure.
in the bubble. So
No, thanks for that
nobody
update.
will have any unfair advantage. So the interesting thing is, one of the things that I'd like to see happen in this year's playoffs, I'd love to see one of these teams with a losing record knock off one of the higher seeds, like the Yankees or the Dodgers, because they'll never repeat this format again if they don't.
Right.
Because obviously the thing that's going to drive television ratings is the teams that stay in.
Sure.
And obviously with the Yankees and the Dodgers having the biggest fan base,
Yeah.
they could do that. So playoffs started today, 2 games in the books. The White Sox beat the A's.
Yeah.
The Astros beat the cheating Astros beat the Twins. And game 3 was at, it should be close to being over by now, but I know the Yankees and the Indians are playing right now. I'm sorry that I'm missing that game. Tampa Bay and Toronto. Tampa's up 3-0 in the bottom of the 7th. And the Yankees are up 2-0 on Cleveland Indians in the bottom of the 2nd. So we've got
Chip.
baseball today, and if you want to OD on baseball, tomorrow would be the day.
All right, Chip, we got Smoking Jim with one
I
question.
just want to say we all love baseball, and it just breaks my heart how low the ratings have been. Don't that break your heart?
Negativity. If he's not going negative, he's not on our team.
Chip is watching. He's about the
I
only
mean,
one.
I watched
You
today.
took a peek. You took a peek.
I watched today.
Hey, you know what? Sunday afternoon, I went like this. Steeler game, commercial, Pirate game. Steeler game, Pirate game, commercial, Steeler game.
Pirates are still in it then?
No, they played their last game on Sunday, Jim.
I didn't know that.
You knew that, you ninny.
You love baseball. How could you miss it? Thank you, Chip Hayner.
That's a pet name I have for him.
On location, first, my friend from Chick-fil-A, I was reading his quote while you were talking there, and he said, "I'm white, I like chicken." He works at Chick-fil-A, and he said there's a life outside of Monroeville.
But they don't have no fried chicken there. Fried chicken.
It's all has fried breading on it. Smoking Jim, you haven't eaten one. There's lines in your neighborhood like crazy. Go there. On location, looks like October 17th, we're set up for Zhang Taekwondo in Wexford. We're going to do a show there. They're going to have a battle between North Carolina and Pittsburgh. Wow. So there's 4 bouts, 3-minute rounds, 5 rounds. They could end early. We'll see how it is. We'll be there with Master Zhang during the event, and they're going to have a dragon dance. They're going to have I showed the truck last week. Caitlin did a nice shot of the colorful truck. They're going to have a national anthem before the show. So I'm excited that we're going to get to do a show since it's been all the way since March when we did a last show. So it'll be nice to be out there. We'll be practicing social distancing and trying to be safe. It's a nice size dojo. There's plenty of room in there. And wait till you see all the trophies, Smoking Jim. It'll be something else. So we're going to line that up. And anybody else, if you have ideas or if any of your locations are at 50%, maybe we could come out and entertain people for a small fee and do a show. So we'll stay tuned to that. We're going to come back. As I misspoke before, Steeler Talk will follow this. Please do not change that dial.
And his pass is broken up by Dana. Tipped off. Michael Harris has it.
Bethel Park Inline Hockey. It's fast, it's fun, and we want you to play. Inline hockey is just like ice hockey, but no ice, and significantly less expensive and far less of a time commitment. Way less travel than ice hockey, too. The sport is played on a specialized rink at the Bridgeville Rollerplex, RMU Island Sports Complex, Harmerville's Alpha Arena, Hot Shots Indoor Sports Arena, and the Murraysville Sports Zone. Our teams play in the Pennsylvania Interscholastic Roller Hockey League, or the PIRHL. Each year, teams from elementary, middle, and high school play a 16-game schedule, plus playoffs, from October through March. Practice one evening a week and games on Saturdays or Sundays. The sport is recognized by the Bethel Park School District, which means student athletes can earn a letter once they reach high school. We play rivals such as Upper St. Clair, Peters Township, Canon-Mac, Pine Richland, North Hills, and so many more. This is no pickup game. You'll need regulation pads, hockey skates, helmets, and the coolest Hawks uniforms around. 2 refs at every game officiate 3 15-minute periods with a running clock. No icing, no offsides, no checking. But this sport will rock you. Registration is coming up, so check out our website at www.bpinlinehockey.com and sign up soon. Let's play!
And his pass is broken up by Tatum. It's off! Rachel Harris has it!
Steeler talk. Like I gave a little prelude to it, it was great to see another win. 3-0 to start the season. The defense and TJ Watt looked excellent. Smoking Jim already said he'll be in the Hall of Fame, and he's the best linebacker we ever had. I say he's building that foundation. We'll see if he gets a big contract. What did you guys see? Chip?
Well, what I'm seeing out of the Pittsburgh Steelers is, this team will be better as we move forward through the season. Now, one of the things that I saw, and it was something very unusual to see out of a Mike Tomlin coach team, but they made defensive adjustments at halftime. And they gave up 51 yards of offense in the second half and no points. And
they shut them down.
And that's against Deshaun Watson, who could be considered an elite quarterback in the National Football League.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, that really impressed me more than anything else. Is that it looks like they was just cutting them up in the first half.
Yeah.
We go down and we score, we go up 17-14, and what do? They bring the ball right back down with a minute 19 left, and boom, they score a touchdown to go up 21-17. And I was sitting here like, oh no, this is going to be ugly in the second half, and they didn't score another point.
I said to my son, this reminds me of SOS. Same old Steelers.
But they're a work in progress right now. They got some good things that they're doing. Good to see Eric Ebron catch his first touchdown pass, become a part of the offense. Looks like Vance McDonald is a blocking.
Yeah,
is a blocking tight end, and he's a pretty vicious blocker, run blocker. Chase Claypool, this kid's going to be a star. Deontay Johnson is still under the concussion protocol.
No, that's a shame. He's been doing well.
You got to make sure his head's right. But Juju is actually seems to be more of a complete football player this year. He is doing the little things. He's blocking.
He's trying.
And I will tell you this: what the Steelers did in the last 3 minutes of that football game. That's how you're going to win a lot of football games in November and December. They got the ball and they ran the clock out.
And I got to bring up about Smoking Jim's brittle brother, James Conner. Oh, thanks. He's on the bandwagon, folks. You heard it.
So
here.
the Steelers will be good. Now let's not lose sight of the fact that yes, the Steelers' first 3 opponents are 0-9.
Yeah.
But on any given Sunday, these are all professional football teams.
Right.
And these are the best players in the country. So you know what? Whether they're 0-3 or whether they were 9-0, the fact of the matter is we beat 3 professional football teams, and these are games that in the past, Tomlin's teams would have been 1-2 at best.
He's a notorious slow starting coach, which when you're an inspirational guy like your friend is, giving all that positive stuff, how come they're not fired up to play? That's what's amazing to me.
But their work will be cut out for them
3-0.
if they play this Sunday against the Tennessee Titans, because the Steelers have shut down the running game in the last 3 games.
Aren't they leading the league in rush defense?
Yeah, well, then they got Derrick Henry coming. And Derrick Henry is a stud.
Yeah.
He's leading the league in carries. He's leading the league in yards from scrimmage. And the way to beat Tennessee Titans, you got to contain Derrick Henry and force Ryan Tannehill to beat you with his arm.
Yeah.
And I don't think he can. What are your thoughts?
Well, I look at the team that's been in the playoffs the last 2 years, Tennessee, and the Steelers haven't made the playoffs the last 2 years. Listen, the Steelers and Tennessee can both thank Roger Goodell, because Tennessee played teams that combined with a record of 1-8, and the Steelers 0-9. I've never seen an easier schedule than what the Pittsburgh Steelers has, and like you said, they're taking advantage of it. What I seen that they were great pass defense last year. They can't cover anybody this year.
Right.
They can't cover anybody this year, and when they start playing better teams, and like you said, I wish that we had Mike Vrabel as a head coach. Man, I love the way he coaches. But I tell you what, Derrick Henry is such a stud, and they know how to run block and trap block. Steelers did a great job this week. They started pulling David DeCastro, who got healthy all of a sudden because he thought he was losing his job to Kevin Dotson. He got healthy, and like Chip said, Vance McDonald showed some great blocking this week.
Right.
And I tell you what, the Steelers went back to that jumbo package, and they brought in Hawkins and played that, third tight end role.
Right.
And they started run blocking, moving people off the ball. But who was they really playing?
Right.
Houston got rid of most of the good players. But I tell you what, Tennessee this week, this is to see who's the third best team in the AFC. We know Kansas City's the greatest team ever seen. Baltimore Ravens might be one of the best teams I ever seen. And so now you got Tennessee and the Pittsburgh Steelers fighting it out for number 3. But the team I'm most impressed with, say what you want about Bill Belichick, anybody that can do that great with Cam Newton, he got to be coach of the year. And if Belichick had Jimmy G, he might be 19-0.
If you want to talk about coach of the year, I'm going to talk about player of the year. And that goes to Russell Wilson, hands down. He is lights out this year. Yeah. He has thrown 14 touchdown passes in 3 games. And he is really bringing it. And I truly enjoyed watching him beat the Cowboys on Sunday.
Yeah, me too.
This is a guy that the new coach, his senior year in North Carolina State, says you can't play NFL football, go baseball.
Right.
So he had to transfer to Wisconsin. And he may go to the Hall of Fame.
No, he may. I'll tell you what, the last 2 years, you had Pat Mahomes as an MVP 2 years ago, Lamar Jackson, and Russell Wilson. I say he's my odds-on favorite this year, provided he stays healthy.
You can't give it to a black guy 3 years in a row. Give Aaron Rodgers. Give it to Aaron.
He's playing good too.
You know what?
Not 3 years in a row. Come on.
No. You know what? I don't look at color. I just look at performance on the field. Okay, and right now, Russell Wilson, if I had a game to win this year, there's 2 quarterbacks I'd pick, Pat Mahomes and Russell Wilson, and I don't know which one I'd prefer. I'd take either.
Well, let's talk about something realistic. Defensive Player of the Year got to be T.J. Watt, finally. His brother looked washed up. As much as I love
his brother was conspicuous by his absence in the game on Sunday.
Yeah, he was.
I
think 3 years of injuries have cut down his ability.
Well, and look at the people that they got rid of that took the heat off of him, like Jadeveon Clowney.
Yeah. Right.
You couldn't double up on J.J. Watt because Clowney was going to knock somebody silly.
Yeah.
So but what I don't understand is how can, what's the guy's name? Bill O'Brien?
Yeah.
How's this guy going to keep his job after he gave away DeAndre Hopkins for a song?
Right.
What did he get? What did he get? A bag of used balls?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he gave him away, and DeAndre Hopkins, he's the top wide receiver in the National Football League right now.
Yeah.
I'll never understand that.
Well, he's top now because Antonio Brown's done, but.
Well, Antonio Brown ruined his own career. He got nobody to blame but himself.
We predicted it.
I forget that name. Who are you talking about?
It broke my heart. Now I'm pushing for Hines Ward for the Hall of Fame. Whoever thought I would do that?
Nobody.
Well, you know what? You just became my wife's favorite sports reporter.
Yeah, I'm pushing for Hines.
My wife loves some Hines.
Yeah.
You changed.
I always said that Antonio Brown would get in the Hall of Fame for Hines would, and Hines would never get in because Antonio will wipe out his records. But now that Antonio Hines still got the most catches in the way that he blocked.
Yeah.
And the type of football player he was. Too bad he got fired from NBC for showing up late all the time. He needs a TV job. Machine, hire him here. If he gets on TV, he's a shoo-in for the Hall of Fame. Not with Dancing with the Stars.
Let me explain something. He wasn't that good. Whatever they had him
He
doing.
was better than Rodney Harrison, but Rodney Harrison shows up on time. They say be there 4 a.m. Harrison is there. Hines comes strolling in at 7:30, 7:45.
What happened to Jerome?
He was a prima donna too. Both of them guys.
Divas.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, and you got to work. Special K will tell you this is a business that
How did you
have
bring
to-
her up?
Because this is
she's a
this
rookie
is a
here.
business. You got to be there on time, man. You can't just stroll in.
So
Smoking
you know,
Jim, do you hear what you're saying?
so when we get done with the Steelers, so according to Jim Frazier, the Steelers are going to dominate the Tennessee Titans on Sunday if they
No, they gonna
play.
get beat.
If they find a way of getting out of playing like Gateway does, okay?
Yeah.
They're going to pull the COVID card on us, you know, to avoid the butt whooping that's coming their way on Sunday. Because I do believe that there's going to be a thumping in Nashville if the game's played on Sunday.
Wow.
I got my money on Tennessee.
That's a guaranteed win for me.
Wow.
You go, what are you getting, a point and a half?
I'm back batting again, brother.
So anyhow, let's talk about some of the other sports. Pittsburgh Pirates
Yeah.
finished the year with the worst record in Major League Baseball, and by all reports, they should get the first pick in the draft.
Right.
This
Unless
year.
there's a flip. Is there a phantom flip?
Well, we never know what Rob Manfred's going to do. I mean,
He'll say it's good for
he
baseball.
let the Astros players off for cheating.
Right.
Okay, so who knows what he's
Guess
going
who
to
his
do?
consultant was? Smoking Jim.
I'm telling you.
If you ain't cheating, you're not
Well,
trying.
the Pirates didn't lay down, so I'm proud of them. They didn't
What
lay
do you
down.
mean?
No, you know what? Actually, the Pirates were playing better at the end of the season than they did at the beginning.
1.98.
You
earned
know,
run average for the
they're starting pitchers
the
coming
last 9
around.
games.
And I mean, you think about it, they got Jamison Tyone coming back next year. And Edgar Santana, after the first 20 games of next year, could be help for the bullpen. But the bullpen,
Wasn't there.
it's abysmal at the best.
Yeah.
Okay? That's my
That
50
means it's
cent
bad.
word. That's my 50-cent word for the day.
That's bad.
So
Look
next
at-
up,
look
we
that
got
up
the
in your
Pittsburgh
Funkin'
Penguins.
Hold it before you ask that. Was there a Pittsburgh Pirate involved in a car accident?
They're one of the Pirates' top recruits, O'Neill Cruz, and the Dominican Republic was involved in an accident last weekend. He was driving his Jeep at 1 o'clock in the morning, and he hit a motorcycle that was carrying 3 people that was driving in the left lane at 1 a.m. with no lights on. Now, there were reports that he was
Drunk.
he had been drinking. That is not true. They did no breathalyzer test on. They have no proof that he was drinking. So this is just an unfortunate accident.
Yeah.
Is he a
And
good player?
potentially yes.
Potentially, okay.
Potentially yes. So there's that. Now, next up, the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Yeah.
Pittsburgh Penguins. Jim Rutherford was serious about making changes. He traded Patrick Hornquist
I know. Wow.
to the Florida Panthers for a defenseman and a winger.
Right.
And Hornquist was a little bit taken by surprise by his trade. He was a little upset because he found out through the news media
Yeah.
that he'd been traded. But, you know, here's the
It
one
happens.
thing that we've learned about professional
We're running out of
sports.
time here, Chip.
All right, here's the thing that we...
Get it quick. Can you get a couple seconds?
There is no loyalty in professional sports, not from the players to the team, not from the team to the players. So,
All right. Thanks for watching. Stay Joey strong.